obviously we do also do the social stuff. Importantly though, the club tries to advertise the fact that it exists. We've got at least one person here who isn't a member of Godless, doesn't really know who we are, so we've at least done that much, even if it's on a tiny, tiny scale today. But show people that there are atheists on campus, because for some people it is an issue for them that they don't believe in the same things that their group of friends or their family believe in, and that can be a difficult thing. Telling your parents that, no, you're not going to go to church because you don't believe in God. For the heavily religious families, that's a huge issue that causes as many fights as any other topic. Occasionally we do get people who are religious and are shocked to find there's an atheist group, and they're the ones that usually are generally honestly interested in learning more about us, finding out what we do and why we don't believe. It doesn't happen very often, and we certainly don't expect to be able to convert people, because that's usually a long drawn out process. It's not the kind of thing where you can go, yeah, there are alternatives to believing, it's called not believing, and people go, wow, I'd never thought of that. It takes time. So that's the ideals of the club. And the outside world, atheism is becoming more popular, certainly being discussed more, especially thanks to people like Richard Dawkins, as was mentioned, and Christopher Hitchens. And I mention these two specifically because they raise really interesting and important points, usually that extremists are bad. Easy enough. Most people that aren't extremists would agree with that point. But religious moderates in any religion are the ones that, arguably, aren't really causing any problems themselves, but they allow for the religious extremists to exist. So what do we do about the moderates? Should atheists be actively rallying against churches? That's one of the questions that I never said I was going to answer.
Yeah, while they take our taxes, yes.
Should we be, I'm going to just direct this at you because I figure you're going to answer me again. Should we be trying to convert trying to convert the believers? I'm involved in a few groups outside university. Some of them think that, yeah, we should be doing exactly that. Others are quite content to just sit back and let them do their thing and let us do ours. And there's obviously a lot of tension between those two groups, because somebody wants to do something, somebody wants to go, no, we can't do that. And eventually somebody's going to win, or we need to meet somewhere in the middle, which is my ideal at least. Politicians will meet with religious groups, especially during election time. Votes in Parliament are cast for religious reasons, especially when it comes to, well, the big one lately has been same-sex marriage, stem cell research, abortions, things like that. Anything where there's a man in a funny hat that says, no, these things are bad, there's going to be a politician who goes, no, I won't vote for that, these things are bad, because the man with the pointy hat said so. The Prime Minister recently tried to convince the Pope to make Mary MacKillop a saint when he could be running the country. Whether the politicians are truly faithful followers or just taking advantage of people's beliefs, the mixing of politics and religion has the potential to be incredibly damaging, or at least, not useful. They could be running the damn country. Are we then to try to prevent people from voting if they're voting for religious reasons? That's not going to be an easy thing to do, although the exclusive brethren who meet often with politicians don't vote. Jehovah's Witnesses are encouraged to refrain from voting. But if people want to vote for Family First purely because they believe in the same God, there's nothing stopping them. There are alternatives, of course. Just going to plug this quickly. My incredibly biased suggestion is that people should vote for the secular party. But nobody knows who they are, given that one person smiled, there's a few people who know what I'm on about, and the rest just give me incredibly blank looks.
I voted for you, Ash.
I vote for us.
Thank you. And for what it's worth, just very quickly as an aside, I did run for the Senate a couple of years ago in 2007 after the club started, with the support of the secular party. I was given last preference by Family First, something that I'm quite proud of. So, enough about me. So nobody knows about the Secular Party or the Atheist Club or the Atheist Foundation of Australia, any of these groups that are, at least trying to do stuff or say that they're trying to. Nobody knows who they are. How do we get noticed more? How can anybody get noticed more? Should we be going door to door, telling people about the benefits of separation of church and state? And again, some people saying yes. I've actually done door-to-door work, not for religious purposes. It sucks. I'm just going to put that out there. Nobody wants to see you, whether you're telling them what their council can do for you, or what God can do for you, or what free thought can do for you. But some people say, this is what the religious people are doing, we need to use their tools against them. It might work. I don't know, again, it's one of the questions that I refuse to answer. I don't doubt, that said, that atheists need to be active. Skepticism, rationality and free thought need to be promoted. But there needs to be a line somewhere between doing something useful for the community, for an individual, for the movement, however you want to see it, and being a dick. Atheist extremists certainly exist, and it's all too easy for moderate atheists to allow for extremists. That's not a trait purely of the faithful, and it's a sad fact that hate mongering is a hell of a lot easier than actually understanding the other side of the argument, and if necessary, beating them by actually being better than them. If atheists start using the same message as religious groups to spread their message, are we actually making things better, or are we just shifting the cause of the problem from them to us? Now, as I said, as I promised, I'm asking a lot of... That's what the problem is. I promised I was going to ask a lot of questions, not give any answers. I never claimed to have any. I just happen to be an occasional organiser of groups of atheists. But I'm not as smart as Dawkins is. I certainly don't drink or smoke as much as Hitchens does, so I miss out on however it is that he has any charm. I don't necessarily have the right ideas, and if I do, there's no guarantee that people are going to follow them. What atheism does need, though, are people who are motivated and can present arguments passionately and rationally and make people enthusiastic about atheism. Firebrands are important too, or else things stagnate, but we need leaders who can use them and guide them well, because if at best the firebrands are left alone, bad publicity will accumulate and hurt the movement, whatever you want to call it. At worst, we get lawsuits, and blowing up shit is bad. So I've managed to reach the end of my prepared stuff without really reaching any conclusions, beyond me saying, yeah, active atheism is necessary, but it needs leaders and organisers. So, yeah, things happen without blowing up. The old saying about organising atheists is being like herding cats. Herding cats. I've been talking for too long already. It's true, Matt has already agreed to that. I will certainly say it again. But it's not easy, but at the end of it, somebody has to do it. If we can keep finding people with the right ideas who will stand up and do something because they're the ones with the ideas and because no one else is, at the very least the club will still exist. Hopefully in a few years' time, instead of me being here being nostalgic about a couple of years ago, someone else will be up here telling you about what has been happening and what's going to happen in the future. Thank you. I'll just not bother letting Scott ask if there's any questions. Matt.
Alright, organising atheists.
Yeah.
In a community.
I've had my run.
Yes, I know you have. You want to do it again?
No, I want to graduate.
My question is more along the lines of, as in with the idea of homosexuality in society, with pride and that sort of thing, society has moved forward in that sense. There's the suggestion that atheists should be turned sort of brights, something along those lines. Is that a suggestion? What is your opinion?
Rebranding.
Yeah, rebranding.
Well, this is an issue that we actually kind of went through on a minor scale when we were choosing the name of the club.
Well, yes.
Because are we going to be an agnostic club, a secular club, an atheist club? And we went, no, we'll welcome anybody, but it gets to the point where you have to say, no, I'm an atheist. You can call yourself a bright, and that might get a few people in and go, oh, I don't know what that is, and you can explain it to them and go, oh, they might learn something. I did actually sign up and join on the Bright's website to try and help that along, because if it works, great. But it gets to the point where you've got too many fractured groups, you've got people who are brilliant and passionate and call themselves brights, and you've got people who are brilliant and passionate and saying, no, I'm an atheist, I'm not going to call myself anything else, why lie about what you think? And you end up with fracturing. And if they are trying to work towards something, whatever that may be, you need, for want of a better term, a united front.
My main, going further with this idea, sorry. I think the main thrust of the idea of calling themselves rights is a rebranding. It's atheism is defined by the lack of belief in God, so therefore you're an anti-theist in general terms. So I think the idea of rights was to redefine any position.
It was a very poor choice of word.
I say I'm very poor
so
using these words. I'm very tired.
I say screw that.
No, the word right.
Right,
It's
yes.
a very poor choice of term.
I'm intelligent.
I understand why they do it, and atheism has negative connotations associated with it. Some people just hear it and run away screaming. Likewise, the name of the club is Godless, which doesn't necessarily sound particularly friendly, but no, I say screw that. If people have a problem with the term atheism, atheists need to be awesome enough that when people hear of atheism, that's what they think of, not the negative connotations.